The founding fathers knew that making a government was a necessary evil in order to make balance and peace in their new formed nation. In this presentation, I'll be going over the three branches of government that these founding fathers made for their government, but more specifically, I'll be going over the checks and balances that these branches have to do. And I am quite qualified to talk about this as I have done extensive research and study thanks to taking a peak US government class. Let's begin. So first off, we have to know about the three different government branches, those being the legislative, executive, and judicial. Might be thinking why it's important to know this, or what's the social importance or cultural importance of this. But to answer that question, we have to first be able to know exactly what it is that these branches do. The first branch we'll be talking about is the House of Representatives. Now, this branch is cut into two different cameras, which is also known as bicameral. And what this camera can do is basically they can initiate any money-related bill, represent those of their own respective states, and elect the president in the event that there is a tie during the elections. And as you can see in the photo below, there are 435 people in the House of Representatives. So it would be hard to get a lot of those people, 435, to agree into a single common goal to basic corruption and against the will of people. Second half would be the Senate. Things the Senate can do is judge appointees of the president, approve treaties from the executive branch with a favor of 2/3, make a congressional investigation, control commerce. They can regulate the currency standard and money spending, make uniform taxation across the US, and elect the vice president of the US in the situation of a tie. Now, basically, what it means to be judging the appointees of the president, it means that they can choose whether or not they accept those appointees into federal government positions or to be federal judges. Now, these two do share some power, and some of those powers include overriding the president's veto, declaring war, and when impeachment is a thing, the House of Representatives can impeach this, or basically in this case, accuse someone of impeachment, while the Senate actually tries to carry out that case, whether a government official should be impeached or not. So already we can see that there are some things that the legislative power can do against the will of the executive branch. Now, in the executive branch, it is just basically the president, and they can reject any proposed laws given by the legislative branch, appoint people into federal positions, appoint federal judges, make foreign treaties, give pardons, and become the commander-in-chief of the army. So already we're revisiting that idea that they can get rejected for appointing federal judges, and they can actually do something against the legislative branch, which would be rejecting a proposed law. And the last branch we'll be talking about is the judicial branch. While it is true that they have only one power, it is one power that they really need because it is called the judicial power. Now, what this basically means is that they can determine whether something was done constitutionally or not. Basically, what this means is that if something were to be deemed unconstitutional, that would go against the rules of the Constitution. And they are also the ultimate court. So whatever they rule, it is the ultimate say in that topic of court, and any other prior court decisions from lower level courts can be overruled by the single court decision that they make. So in short, they're basically the rule keepers of government. Now, there are some good things that have come out through the separation of powers, and I've chosen two of the more noteworthy ones. The War Power Act, which basically summed up is, now with this act, the executive branch has to get permission from the legislative branch to start a war and declare war. And the rejection of the Muslim ban of 2017 is when the executive branch wanted to ban Muslims from entering the US, but the judicial branch decided and deemed this as an unconstitutional act. So they could no longer enforce and instill that thing ban. Now we can talk about the social importance now that we've gone over some of the three different branches of government and how they can interact. So basically it tells us that it is socially important because we don't have to worry about someone overtaking the government and abusing its power. Because even if they were to manage that, they would have very limited time, as the other branches would still be instilled and be in place to make sure that nothing fishy or bad is going on. And it is through voting that we can elect the right people to make the things that we want to see better in our society and nation as a whole. Now that we've reached the end of this presentation, you have learned that there are benefits of and what each of the branches of government can do and what they are capable of doing. Because of the separation of power, that of our nation has remained a republic, and it is thanks to the founding fathers' organization of government that we have no major changes, in that we are the oldest living constitution.